All right, everybody, welcome back. We are diving deep today.
Diving deep.
Yes, into how to set and achieve financial goals.
Yes.
In the U.S. specifically.
Right.
And this is inspired by an episode we listened to called How to Set and Achieve Financial Goals in the USA.
Yep.
And we thought it was great, but, we always like to take things a little bit further.
A little deeper.
So we're going to do that today with you guys. And,
absolutely.
One thing that really stood out to me from this episode was that they talked about writing down your goals.
Oh, yeah.
And how that can actually help you be more likely to achieve them.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They talked a little bit in the episode about how it's almost like that visualization that athletes do. Like they actually picture themselves like winning the race or, making that basket or whatever it is. And there's something about writing it down that just makes it a little bit more real and it makes you a little bit more committed.
It's like you're kind of putting it out there into the universe a little bit.
Totally.
Like, okay, I said this, now I got it.
You got to do it.
I do it,
Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
So instead of just being like, oh, I want to save money,
right,
you're actually saying like, okay, I want to save, $5,000 by December or something like that.
Right. And so that kind of leads perfectly into the next point, which is making your goals smart.
Smart.
Which is, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. But but one thing that they mentioned in the episode that I thought was really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
That I haven't heard before is, obviously you want to make your goals smart, but you also want to make sure that they're meaningful to you. Because if it's not something that you really care about or you're not really passionate about, you're much less likely to stick with it.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like, you think about it, like all the times that you set a New Year's resolution. Yeah. You're like, oh, I go to the gym every day. And then
by February, you're like,
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
You've totally given up.
Yeah, what happened?
And it's like, well, maybe it wasn't that important to you.
Right. It wasn't intrinsically motivating to you.
Exactly. Yeah. It was kind of just like.
Yeah, you felt like you should do it.
This is what I should be doing.
Right.
But I don't really actually want to do this.
Right.
So like, for me, I just, buying a house someday maybe is a goal.
Yeah.
But I don't really care that much right now. So I'm probably not going to.
Right. If you're not ready to settle down.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be that excited about saving for a down payment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay to not have that be a goal right now.
Right.
So once we have our SMART goals and we've decided, what's meaningful to us.
Yeah.
The next step is
breaking it down. Yeah.
So I think this is a huge thing for people because,
totally. I know for me, I get really overwhelmed when I think about like, okay, I need to save $20,000 for a down payment, or I need to, pay off this $10,000 debt or something like that.
Right.
And it just feels so.
It feels impossible.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people don't even get started.
Totally.
Is because they just feel like it's this huge mountain.
Right. It's overwhelming.
That they'll never be able to climb.
Yeah. And so the episode talked about like breaking it down.
Yeah.
Into smaller chunks.
Right.
Like they kind of compared it to climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
It's much less daunting if you're just focused on reaching the next base camp.
Right.
As opposed to like the peak of the mountain.
Totally. Yeah.
So for example, if your goal is to save $20,000 for a down payment, maybe break that down into a monthly savings goal.
Right.
So, maybe you need to save, what is that, $555 a month for 3 years?
Something like that, and it suddenly feels a little bit more manageable.
Right, exactly. And I think that's so important. Like, instead of just looking at this like huge number, you're like, okay, what can I actually do this month?
Yeah, what's a small step that I can take to get closer to that goal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of making things easier.
Yes.
Let's talk about automation.
Okay.
Because this is something that I feel like everyone is.
It's all the rage.
Talking about these days.
Yeah, it's very popular.
And I know that it can be really, really helpful.
For sure.
For some people.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So automation can be a really powerful tool when it comes to saving and investing because it basically takes the thinking out of it.
Right.
You just set it and forget it.
Yeah.
So, if you're trying to save for retirement, for example, setting up automatic contributions to your 401k or your Roth IRA can be super helpful because you don't even have to think about it.
Right.
The money just comes out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
And goes straight into your savings.
Totally.
So you don't even have to worry about it.
I actually have a friend.
Oh, yeah?
Who, she automated everything.
Oh, wow.
And she was like so excited about it. Like she's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, I'm on autopilot.
And then like 6 months later, I was talking to her and I was like, oh, how's it going?
Yeah, how's automation treating you?
And she's like, oh, it's great, but I kind of feel like I'm overspending a little bit. Because I'm not really paying attention to what's going on.
Because you just assume that everything's being taken care of.
Yeah. And so she was like buying
right,
little things here and there, like a coffee or, whatever. And it really added up.
Yeah. And she didn't even realize it.
Right.
Because she wasn't paying attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think that's a really valid concern. Yeah. And I think it's great to leverage automation. But I don't think it should replace mindful spending habits.
Right.
You still need to be aware of where your money is going.
Yeah.
Even if things are automated. So, I think the episode recommended checking your accounts regularly.
Okay.
Even if you have things automated.
Yeah.
Just to kind of stay on top of things and make sure that you're not overspending.
It's kind of about finding that balance. Automate the things that...
Automate the big things.
You can, but also stay engaged enough.
Stay mindful.
That you're not going crazy with your spending.
Exactly.
All right, so...
we talked about defining our goals.
Yes.
We talked about making them smart and making them meaningful, breaking them down and automating.
Yep.
And that leads us to the final step.
Okay.
Which is tracking and adjusting.
Tracking and adjusting.
Because as we all know, life happens.
Life happens.
Things come up.
Yeah.
Unexpected expenses.
Totally.
Job changes, you name it.
All the time.
So it's really important to be flexible and adaptable when it comes to your financial planning.
Yeah, and I think that's where things can really go wrong.
Totally.
Is when you're not willing to adjust.
Yeah, if you're too rigid, it's going to be hard to stay on track.
Totally.
So the episode talked about how it's really important to review your progress regularly.
Okay.
So, are you on track to meet your savings goals?
Yeah.
If not, maybe you need to adjust your budget a little bit.
Right.
Maybe you need to explore some additional income sources. But it's really important to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And make adjustments as needed.
And they actually had a really cool tip in the episode.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
About, using a budgeting app.
Oh, yeah. Those can be really helpful.
That, categorizes all your spending.
Right. Because then you can see exactly where your money is going.
Exactly. And then you're like, oh, wow.
Right.
I'm spending way too much money on.
Yeah. I didn't realize I was spending that much on eating out.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
Or clothes shopping or whatever your vice is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I think that kind of leads into the last point.
Yeah.
About, having an emergency fund.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's so important.
It is so important because, like we said, life happens.
Yeah.
And so if you have an emergency fund, you're much less likely to
be completely thrown off.
Yeah, to be completely derailed when something unexpected happens.
Awesome. Well, I think this has been a really helpful deep dive.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We covered a lot of important points.
Yeah.
From defining our goals.
Yep.
Making them smart and meaningful to us.
To us.
Breaking them down. Automated, tracking and adjusting.
Tracking and adjusting.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is just to, just take it one step at a time.
Small steps.
Small steps, yeah.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys feel really empowered.
Yeah.
To go out and
crush your financial goals.
Crush your financial goals. Yes. And remember, this is your journey.
Your journey.
There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Totally.
Just find what works for you and go for it.
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to leave you guys with to think about is, now that you have all this information and you've listened to us talk about all this stuff, what is that first goal that you're going to write down?
What's that one thing?
And start working towards.
That you're ready to tackle.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
And we will see you next time.
See you later.
If this podcast helped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos. Thanks for watching.